I walked into my screening like I was Indiana Jones undergoing the leap of faith from The Last Crusade. I mean, there was no way that this film could be good, right? I mean, the director was untested with anything this big. His biggest film up until this point was 2015's Beast of No Nation. There had been rumours of reshoots, the runtime was a frankly absurd 2 hours 43 minutes, and Craig hasn't seemed to care about the role beyond cashing his cheque for almost a decade now, but I parked myself in my seat, held my beer in anticipation, and floated out of the auditorium on cloud nine. Now, not only is this one of Craig's best outings, there will be endless debate between this and Casino Royale, we arguably get one of the best Bond films ever, and that's not something I say lightly. I laughed, I was tense, I thought the script couldn't possibly be going where it was, but it did, then it went further. Towards the end, I was almost in tears were I not English and therefore raised from birth to repress any and all emotions at all times.
It's enough to make a grown man cry, but not this man. Get back in there, Tia.
The action is consistently amazing, the visuals gorgeous, the film leans into several genres ranging from action-adventure to strong horror elements, and it all just fits and works scene by scene with no weak links, and I really and truly thought I would never say this, but if this was to be the final James Bond film, then what a send-off it would be for the character. It won't be, by the way. They're going to start looking for another Bond next year, but are allegedly turning down every actor associated with Marvel or DC, which rules out pretty much everyone you've ever heard of, including my pick for the role, Tom Hardy. Back on topic, and on one level, No Time to Die is your bog standard, one last job.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Picture, to wit. James Bond has left active service when his friend Friedrich Leiter insists his help in the search for a missing scientist. When it becomes apparent they were abducted, Bond must confront a danger the likes of which the world has never seen. And, to be honest, I could have left the auditorium after the opening sequence with Billie Eilish singing her soon-to-be Oscar-winning song and been perfectly happy with the result.
Shut up and take my money!
But even then, the film keeps playing, and it's nice for once for Craig's Bond to be going up against someone who seems to be from the Roger Moore era of Bond villains, where they have an unbelievable amount of resources, unlimited number of goons, and a slightly overly complicated plan. Actually, speaking of Moore, one thing that left a bad taste in my mouth was that there was no for Sean and Roger during the end credits. You dedicated Tomorrow Never Dies to Cubby R. Broccoli, so couldn't you do the same here? Back on topic, and we find that despite Craig trying his hardest, James Bond is, as he always was, the least interesting person in his own film. I mean, you've got poor Rami Malek giving his all in a performance that goes a lot deeper for the underwritten villain he's been given, Anna de Armas, who's apparently wandered in from a completely different film, in which I would love to see at some point since she's on screen for roughly 7 minutes, and could be cut completely with minimal effort, much to this film's enjoyment, but not plot detriment. Then you've got Lea Seydoux as the first returning Bond girl since Sylvia Trench in the first 2 Bond films. Unless you count Moneypenny as a Bond girl, which I personally don't.
Moneypenny, I'm devastated. What would I ever do without you?
As far as I can remember, James, you've never had me.
Giving a performance which is amazing despite, again, not being the most developed character in cinematic history, although her serious lack of chemistry with Craig is a bit of an issue at times. And then you've got Lashana Lynch as Nomi, who's awesome in her role as a new ally for Bond, and again would be someone that I would love to see again, but since the Bond films have never created a spin-off and probably never will, I like to think it will be used as a springboard for other female spy films. Now, that's not to dissuade the usual crew, M, Q and Moneypenny herself, as we find this Bond forced to be much more of a team player than his previous incarnations. No longer is Bond the lone wolf told to go out and get the villain with nothing but his wits and a few toys. Instead, we get a Bond who has to rely on those around him to get through some truly incredible action scenes which range from the fantastically over the top to small and intimate, which help keep things fresh and interesting. And the references, by film, the references to previous Bond films, subtle enough that Bond geeks like myself will smile quietly, but not enough to spoil the film for everyone else, which is always hard to do, but always rewarding. But alas, no film is perfect, and whilst I was very, very impressed with No Time to Die, there were still a few little things that could have been tweaked. Like I said, you could very easily remove Anna de Armas' character without affecting the film, so I'd like them to do more with her. The third act could do with losing 10 minutes, and nope. There's nothing else to change really, aside from adding some chemistry to Craig and Seydoux scenes, as I've had more chemistry with people sitting opposite me in the tube, but we've yet to develop that technology, sadly. Aside from that, this is an amazing film which shows that despite what the doomsayers and Mission Impossible fanboys may say, there will always be a place in cinema for that man in the tuxedo and that famous theme. Dum dee 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 dum 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 dee 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 dum. So I definitely think that you should drop everything and see it now, but what do you guys think? What have you thought of Craig's Bond? And who do you think will be the next 007? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, it's been a dunking. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe.